So here's that little clip. That's pretty much holding the rest of this thing on. So I'm going to go slip in here using this tool and pop that clip off.
Hold on.
Like that.
Good. There we go.
Pop the clip off, and then there we go. And then now it's going to come down, unless I'm very careful about it. So, as you can see here, oil was previously changed. There's all this crud and things, that build up here. And I just don't like that. And it looks like there's something else leaking here, so I'll have to take a look. So now we're ready to drain the oil. And I'm going to pop the hood. And I'm going to unscrew the oil cap. Just going to leave it there, make sure that it's open and it can breathe, so the oil can drain easily. So here we are again. Here's the filter, and there's the drain plug. And I've got my pan positioned, so the oil is going to come out right about like that. So I figure as the drainage slows, it'll probably, it's probably a good way like that. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a yank and loosen that. And see, this is way too tight. It should not be this tight. So to make taking a drain plug off easier, we're going to apply a breaker bar to the situation. There we go. So now I've got that loose. And then, using this little extension here and a socket and a single paper towel, you could probably use a cloth or something else, but okay. I'm going to go ahead and start unscrewing that. You might want to step back a little bit because it might splash. I'm going to unscrew it, I'm going to hold it there, and I'm going to hold it there until I'm ready to actually, until I know I can actually just pull away. Like that. And see, and there's a very minimal mess that's been made. So there's the old copper crush washer right there. And see how it's really thin. And here's the new one. It's going to go on like this, with the wide end towards the bottom. So to remove this, I'm going to position it in the vise. Tighten it down. I'm going to get this knife and get under there, start lifting it up. Yeah, sometimes you could just unscrew these with your fingers, but if you can't, then use these. Looks like this one might have a good chance of coming off by hand. There it goes. There we are. And get a rag here, wipe that down. Alright, and then you take this and just screw that right on there. You want to make sure that it sits flush all around. Like that. And this is what it looks like when it's done. Now I'm going to unscrew this oil filter, and that comes off pretty easy. That's good. Not too easy. Let some of that drain a little bit. I'm going to let that drain a little more. Okay, well, I'm trying to avoid making a mess here, so you might want to step back a little. There you go. Alright. So now that we've lifted the back of the car, notice more oil started draining out. So for those of you that want to get every drop out, lift the front, then lift the back while it's open. So here's the filter mounting surface. That's actually the oil cooler right here, and you can see there's a coolant line running through it. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this clean. How's that looking?
Excellent. Shiny.
Okay, great. And let's wipe this down a little bit. Okay. So now I'm going to install the new filter. I've got Amsoil's Finest EA012 right here. And I'm going to lube that gasket here so that it'll be easy to remove the filter in the future and it creates a good seal. So got some oil here and a little bit in the cap. I'm just gonna put some there on my finger, and it's new oil, and so there it is. So now I'm gonna install the filter, and you want to make sure you go slowly in the beginning so you don't cross thread. You might cause a lot of problems. There we go. I'm gonna, same procedure, go slowly, make sure you got it in there right. Make it nice and snug. Okay. And factory service manual says to torque this to 25 foot-pounds, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it by hand until I can see the washers crushed pretty well, and then give it an extra little tug. There we go. Usually if you can't see the washer, that means you made it tight enough, but don't take my word for it. Do it at your own risk. So now we're ready to refill the engine oil, and I'm going to remove the cap here. The last quart of oil we're putting in. This is quart number 5, and I think it's supposed to be 4.7 quarts when you replace the filter, but I've always put in 5 and it always comes up full in the dipstick, so we're going to go ahead and just dump the whole thing in. Make sure you got it on there the right way because it can be kind of tricky sometimes. There we go. Don't make it too tight. Alright. And now we can't really check the oil because, well, first of all, the filter is empty, so we don't get an accurate reading. And second, usually you gotta wait at least about 10 minutes before you check the engine oil in this car, because I think the way that the dipstick's designed, somehow things drain down over it, and so you can't get an accurate reading if there's been recent engine activity or somebody filling the oil. Before you start the car, make sure that you've tightened the oil drain plug and that you've filled, engine oil. You put the cap on and you've installed the filter. And I've checked those things, and now I'm going to start the vehicle and monitor the oil light, make sure it goes off, and then go down there and inspect, let it run for like a minute or so, and just make sure everything's good. So everything looks pretty good down here. I don't see anything leaking. And we're going to go ahead and shut the car off now. Okay, so now I'm ready to put this cover back on. And I've got that clip that we popped out from the center. It's going back in. So everything's in reverse order now. So I'm going to stick it in here, pop it in, and now this is being held up for me. And then I've got my magnetic tray with all the screws. Go ahead and start threading those in. We can't thread this one in because the previous people that worked on this damaged the stuff that came in here. So, oh, it wasn't this one, I think. Actually, it was a different one. It was this one here. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and start screwing these in carefully. You want to make sure you don't cross-thread them because then you're going to have problems. So thread them in by hand at first, then you can finish off with the power tool. Make sure that power tool has a torque setting on it. If not, do it by hand. You don't want to over-tighten these. I'm going to use this here to tighten all the screws that I've threaded in. And I have it set to right around here. I think that's 8. You can see that. If I hold that, you can see it's not going to be too tight. So I'm going to go ahead and start screwing these in. And see, that's perfect. Check the oil. We've let the car sit for quite a bit of time, and now we should have a pretty accurate reading. So I'm going to wiggle that a little bit and apply pressure. There we go. I'm going to insert that like that. First I'm just going to wipe it down. Nice and clean. Put it back in. There we go. And then take it back out. Get a nice clean reading. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it looks like it's right in the middle, which means we can add more oil. And we're going to do that, about half a quart. Wow, I don't know why your car would take more oil than normal. Maybe those bottles are underfilled. Well, we're done with this. Another happy customer.
Another job well done.